For 4 days, 300 souls lived inside a bubble of music and connection. It was called the Jacob Collier Hideaway. It was a truly transformational experience, a place where everyone embraced exploration, openness, and curiosity. But what happens when you leave this bubble? When you're scattered back to your own corner of the world? For me, the experience was too meaningful to let it fade into a distant memory. So this podcast is my anchor, a space to share who you are, stories, inspiration, creative aspirations, and struggles. These are Hideaway Stories. And to begin each episode, I asked every guest to bring a song, a sound, a jingle that is meaningful to them, that inspired them. And this is the sound for my next guest. Hey, Drew.
Hey, Philipp. What's going on?
Why did you choose this sound? Why did you send this? And what is the sound?
The sound is the sound is the creative process. I think when you reached out and asked for a sound, I immediately started to kind of go look at what other people had had picked as their sounds, just to kind of get an idea. And I landed on the creative process because it's easy to there's so many sounds in the world. We're surrounded by them every day that are important to the process. But this, I was kind of like just looking back through my notes app, my voice memos that's just riddled with ideas and lost thoughts and musings, and found this one that had a title instead of like a location metadata kind of thing, and I listened to it and was like, this is the creative process. And I think that's such an important piece of finding the next song.
So just for everyone who's listening, it's a demo that you, like a voice memo recording, you recorded on your phone?
Yeah, that's literally just like probably, I think that one, I was in Nashville at the time, and staying in an apartment down there, and uh, I was spending a lot of time writing and kind of coming up with ideas, and just that was a random idea that popped into my head one day, and I haven't made that into a full song yet, but it's just like a random idea.
And how many of these ideas do you have on your phone?
Oh, that's impossible to answer.
Like 10, 100?
We're just gonna scroll for a little while here.
Oh,
Hang
wow.
on. Probably
Can you
1,000.
choose, like, select all? Maybe select all, it gives you
1,000. I have
1,000?
1,000 voice memos.
And that's all ideas?
I would say 99.8% of those voice memos are ideas.
So do you have some sort of challenge that you do it all, like every morning you do that? Or
No,
when are you?
no. It's just like there's no. I mean, I think songwriting comes in, and ideas come in waves and seasons, and there's and right now I'm like, I just put out a record. It's called Late to the Party. It has a song that we all sang at Hideaway called Wildflowers. It has another one
Yes,
called
we
Pattern.
did.
Like, writing kind of comes in for me, it comes in seasons. Ideas are always floating around. I just have to be, on top of them enough to kind of grab them out of the air, you know? Um, and that's what usually lands on voice memos for me.
So what do you think, when was that? How long ago was that recording? When did you record that?
Let's see. Hang on. Let me look. I can. That was July 2022.
Oh, wow. Okay. So since then, probably a lot of recordings have been added to it, right?
A ton. A ton.
A ton. Yeah. So you didn't probably even remember what you were recording there.
No idea. No idea what I was
Yeah.
doing that day. I mean, I could look at a calendar and maybe find what I was doing that day, but I think I was in Nashville.
So how do you select what to do with it? What do you do with it?
I think that ideas decide whether I do something with them or not. If it's a
The
burning
idea
idea,
decides.
I think the idea decides. I don't know if it's that I don't know if it's my choice or not. Uh, I think there are lots of songs that get written every day. I don't write every day, but I have ideas that float through my head every day, for sure. Uh, and some of those get turned into actual songs, and some of them are just like I have, sometimes like the idea is a passing moment, and I don't know. Ideas are just like they're always around us, and you just like we're. I think of being an artist and being a songwriter as like I don't know, like going fishing. I'm not a big fisherman, but I like the metaphor because it's you if you're in the mood that day or if you are in the practice that day, you can put a line in and just and grab an idea. Um, but somebody else might get that same idea and write that song the same day, you know?
Okay, we need to stay there for a
That's
second
deep.
because
That's
there's
deep.
so much to dig into. First of all, I want to stay with the idea chooses. The idea decides whether it's going to be a song.
I think so.
Yeah, tell me about it. Like, how's that possible? Like, tell me the process of actually, for example, let's use Wildflowers since we are talking about it, and maybe I can insert just a small snippet of Hideaway just so that people can hear what we're talking about.
Sure.
And okay, let's take that song. How did the idea decide that it became a song?
Um, how did the idea decide that it became a song? I wrote that with my friends AJ Smith and Thomas Baldwin down in Nashville. And I don't remember exactly. That one kind of came from a feeling. That was I was opening for I was getting ready to open for Mumford and Sons, and
Just
uh
casually mentioning it, okay?
yeah, right? Pretty wild. And uh what's the song? Son of a bitch. No, no, no. There's another band. Anyway, doesn't matter. The idea that one was like, hey, well, you probably should write a song. We should probably write a song about like that like leans into the Mumford and Sons thing, and I don't know, maybe have a new song for this show. And at that time, I was kind of dealing with a lot of, or just feeling the heavy weight of imposter syndrome, and like trying to figure out whether I continue doing this path of like making original music and putting it out there, and like really like trying to be trying to be an artist like full time, and like I was kind of grappling with that idea, and feeling like a lot of doubt. And we sat down and kind of like, co-writing is a lot of like, you throw an idea out, you throw an idea out, you throw an idea out, and then maybe something sticks, and you finish the idea. Um and that day, like, I was kind of feeling down. I was like, man, like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. It's so overwhelming. I'm not good enough, for whatever negative thoughts come to mind, you know, that fueled this idea. Now, I will be a hypocrite here. Sometimes ideas don't decide. Sometimes you decide. But I also think
Okay.
that sometimes the idea decides whether it's gonna be a song or not. Um, in
Okay,
the case
okay,
of
okay.
Wildflowers, we sat down, and that idea came out, and then we finished it. Uh,
I think so. What I'm hearing is that the process also was completely different from the beginning. So it wasn't just another voice memo on your phone. It was really people sitting together and actually collaborating.
yes,
So maybe that's already a different situation.
sure.
So let's get back to your phone with 1,000 voice memos. I mean, don't you have a bit of FOMO that, I don't know, there's so many good songs in there and they're just lost to the ether? No one will ever hear it, listen to it. You don't even remember it. Maybe
Yeah,
there's some gems in there. How does the idea decide? You don't seem to care much. I mean, you seem to be a guy that has an abundance of ideas, or creativity is abundant. So that's I guess, already a good way of being creative. On
sure.
the other hand, I mean, I would be a bit, how do you say, not terrified, but a bit anxious to just leave it there. Just the idea decides. It's so leisurely. Like I personally don't make music like this, so that's why I'm asking. Like,
Um, I you know, I think maybe once upon a time I was like, "Oh my god, if I come up with an idea, I have to write it." But I think as I've grown as an artist, like, not everything needs to be written. Like, important things will come out, and find their way to the surface, and important things will get lost. That's just life, I think. Uh, and hopefully, like, you inviting me to do this, made me take a moment to scroll through my voice notes looking for a sound that I care about, and I stumbled on this idea, and I sent it to one of my co-writers and said, "Hey, I think this is cool. You want to write it?" And so maybe we'll write it. And maybe, and see, it's like it just kind of jumped out. The idea jumped out. So it's been there. It's been there. It's been floating around in the ether. It's been like put on a hard drive, and maybe it'll go to the next phase, you know? But I, like, I have as much control as I have no control over whether that song becomes a song or not, you know? It's like there's like this weird equilibrium there.
I heard Quentin Tarantino once say, I think he has a bit a similar approach than to yours, where he has a lot of ideas, and he says, I'm not even writing them down because the good shit sticks.
Yes,
Can you relate to this?
absolutely. The good shit sticks. It always does. I mean, I've finished a lot of songs. Uh, of those lot of songs that I have finished, I don't remember all of them. Some of them just aren't that good, and that's okay. That's part of the creative process. You know, you gotta do
So
it's like you gotta do reps. You gotta write a lot.
so staying on the idea section of it all for just a last brief moment. When I hear you speak, it feels like you're surrounded by ideas floating through you invisibly all the time. It's like air,
Yeah,
and you just breathe. Take a breath.
that's it. I would agree completely.
How would you say you're different to other people? Because you probably know that not everybody has this connection to knowing that there is this abundance of ideas and you just have to find them, grab them, take them. I guess you know that it's not very typical.
It isn't?
You don't know that? So
People
you
don't
feel that
don't
you're surrounded by people who have thousands of voice memos on their phones?
Yeah, I mean, I am. I do surround myself with people who have lots of voice memos.
Okay.
In
Then
general,
you're
I think
special. You're special connected to some special people, I guess.
I don't know. Like you're a creative type. You don't feel like ideas just show up all the time?
To
You know,
me, I'm more of the everything is a remix guy.
what do you mean?
I'm from my process. It's always comes from a moment of inspiration, and that can be nature. That can be something that is quiet. In a quiet moment, it rises up through me and has a word, a sentence, a melody, a harmony. But usually, it's more. I'm going into the process, so it's more for me. It's more like there's a river flowing, and as long as I'm not in the river, like really jumping in, not really much happens. But when I listen to music, when I start, like really, I'm not good at playing piano, but when I just press buttons and see, like taste, like hear by taste what kind of chords I like, or when I have a melody or some song that I don't know by some artist that I listen to that does something that I've never heard before, then I'm in the stream, then I'm in the river, and then my process starts. That's how my creative process starts.
Hmm,
And it's almost like the moment I'm leaving this river, like I'm just doing something else, and the moment I come back to it, it's almost like I never left this position and I'm just flowing again from the same point. But I'm not the guy who, oh, there's an idea and there's an idea, like fireflies in the, like in the evening, fireflies floating around. That's not how I work.
okay.
Yeah, so that's why I was so interested in how this is for you, how this ideas just grabbing them. I mean, I feel it sounds easy and like okay. Then I'm jumping to a question that I usually don't ask in the beginning. But what is your struggles with this maybe process, with the creative process, with ideas, with songs? Are there even struggles? It sounds very convenient and very easy to you.
Um, oh, sometimes it's absolutely hard to write songs. Sometimes. Sometimes they come out and they happen in 20 minutes, and sometimes it takes a year of going back and forth on things, and sometimes you spend hours and hours and hours on something, and then you get to the end of it, and it's like, that was okay. We missed the mark though, or I missed the mark though. Uh, and sometimes you get to the end of a session and it's like, whoa, that's a powerful song. And then later you look back and it loses its luster, that it loses the sparkle that I had in the in a session. Uh, but I think the struggles though are are I don't know, my biggest bottleneck with creativity right now is that I don't give myself enough time to do it because I'm so busy doing all of the other things to be a musician publicly,
Okay,
you
we
know?
will go into that later, but I'm definitely writing it down. Um, I want to stay with songwriting first. It seems like you're making a distinction between ideas and songwriting. Is that true?
Uh, sure.
It sounded like
I think ideas are little nuggets from which from which songs can grow. Um,
so when you shared that recording with us, that very beginning like snippet on your phone,
sure.
which is I think a minute and 40 seconds, and we only heard 15 seconds or something like that, an excerpt of it. And what stage was that? So you just pressed record and you started. That was first take, just
That was it.
starting to play.
That was like that I probably I would guess that I had, like, just had a little idea pop into my head, and I was playing the guitar, and, I was in the stream, if you will, and that idea just kinda, like, popped out. "Huh, this is kinda neat. I like these chords, I like the tonality of the thing, and here's a melody that kind of feels like it could be there." You know, and
So, and when you say there is an idea that it sounds nice, is that all in your head? Can you do that in your head, or do you need to have the guitar in your hand?
I mean, I think I hear things in my head, but I often will pick up the guitar to kind of articulate what I'm what like I'm seeing or hearing in my mind.
So, what would need to happen to make this songwriting? So, this is the idea. Now you want to do this as a song. What's the process then?
Then I think there's intention. Then you have to find meaning, and you have to find something that lights the fire, or I mean, if we're keeping with the seed metaphor or whatever, you have to there has to be intention. Um, Now you have to, like, go and flesh out the idea. What's it about? Why should it exist? What's the song about? Like, what are you feeling? What does the music what emotion does the music evoke? What words come to mind? That's and then you have to kind of come up with a story, or bring the story to life in some way.
Okay.
And I think that's the difference between intentionally writing a song versus just an idea.
Yeah. Which part of it is most fun for you? Including and then performing it live for the first time. So the process from really voice memo recording to writing the song, recording the song, performing it. Which part do you like the most?
I love performing. That's
Performing.
that's my favorite place to be. But I also like I love making songs and writing songs too. So I don't like yes, performance is probably the top spot, but very quickly followed by by coming up with ideas and writing songs and all of the other little pieces that come along with with that.
Okay, so let's go into your world of being a musician. I think people heard your name, but maybe you can introduce yourself, like where you're from and what do you do, and are you actually doing this for a living, music and being a musician? Maybe you can just say a bit about you.
Yeah, sure. My name is Drew Angus. I live in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And I am kind of an Americana folk rock singer-songwriter. I tour around the country and play small theaters and and I'm a full-time musician. This is what I do for a living. I am my I'm the songwriter, the artist, the booking agent, the manager, the marketing team, and all of the pieces of the puzzle. They all fall to me. So it's certainly an all-encompassing gig here.
One man army.
One man army. That's it.
And since when? What? How old are you?
I'm 36, but that doesn't matter.
No, but since when do you? That's why I'm asking. Since when do you make music? Since when are you a professional musician?
I've been a I've been a professional musician since I was kind of fresh out of college, I would say. So since I was about 20, 21 or so.
And you were studying music?
I did. I studied music and slept through all of my music theory classes and you know, caused lots of trouble in the conservatory program that I just wanted to sing rock and roll at. Uh the classical conservatory situation and somehow I passed and now I'm a professional musician.
So you were the James Dean type coming in with a leather jacket and
I was the troublemaker. But
how
all good things though.
yeah, yeah. How did they handle you?
Uh, how did they handle me? Uh, they how did they handle me? I just kinda I
I mean, either you got bad grades or somehow you got to manage some I don't know, some how do you say professors that were you could relate to, like choosing a slippery
I
path.
had a good voice coach.
Okay.
My voice teacher and I got along swimmingly well, and he really helped me find my voice, um, that and gave me the tools, and showed me the ropes of, like, kind of just getting started. And together we fought, well, we fought to kind of change the culture of our my school's music department and make it more geared towards commercial music instead of, you know, singing 24 Italian arias and art songs, you know? Like, I've that silly book has been collecting dust since the day I left college, and I can't say that I've ever made a penny off of singing or performing any of those songs, you know, but
So
that was the only way to get to, like, that was your point of acceptance, uh,
yeah.
into school for music.
So you were applying with a aria?
Yeah, it was an Italian art
Okay.
song.
I would love to hear it. I can't imagine you singing an aria.
I can sing
That's
the shit
cool.
out of Caro Mio Bene.
So but that's interesting. I mean, Two people, meaning you and your professor, seem to have had an effect on the curriculum.
Yeah, I would say we pushed we
How
pushed.
was the process? Because usually colleges are not like other institutions, are not usually the most adaptive, innovation seeking, super agile things.
Yeah,
So
there's slow moving red tape bureaucracies that don't that that
so yeah, tell me what happened. I'm interested. How did you manage? Because I'm sure that you're not the only one who was a bit frustrated with having to be I don't know, following a guideline that has been probably developed very many decades ago, while the music has changed a lot in the decades that were currently happening. So if people are inspired by that and maybe want to make an impact, what did you do and how do you think it could be done, hopefully to the positive?
well, I think in the time that I was in school to now, actually a lot of these music conservatories and programs have introduced uh more commercial music elements into their curriculums. I think I was on the tail end of of kind of the old guard, the old stodgy, or the that everything it must be Italian 24 Italian art songs, arias and art songs or whatever. Uh
So it wasn't really an uphill battle in the sense that you.
Well, it was certainly an uphill battle in when you go to college, or when you go to undergrad, you have 4 years to try and get something out of that experience, and I went in and, you know, day 1, like, I wanted to get immediately involved and access to use a recording studio. In high school, I was lucky enough to be able to use like recording equipment, and I learned how to use Pro Tools and was like trying to understand and like play, Um and immediately, like, I get to college, and the recording studio that I was like, I could go to this school because they have a recording studio. I wasn't allowed to use it until sophomore year, second semester, after taking an electroacoustic class where they were like making ping pong sounds and water drop sounds swirl around a 4.1 like quadraphonic sound. It was like, what is this? you know? And it's funny, now we use like now things are mixed in Dolby Atmos, which is like 7.1 or 11.1. So it's like, man, I wish maybe we should have played more in that space. But I needed to, like, I wasn't allowed to get into the recording studio my freshman year. I've only got 4 years there. So I went to the student board or student government and got a bunch of money, and like basically built the music department another recording studio that was in my voice teacher's office, that was originally the control room of a recording studio, but over time had been turned into just like another teacher's office. And then, like, brought in local bands and started to try and like record things and just figure stuff out. uh
But I mean then it's quite a cool college, no? When they throw money at you and then you can just by asking more or less build a studio. That's cool, no?
well, to be fair, I did a lot of things before I asked for permission and had to apologize later. Like, I
Which
installed
kind of.
I'm so sorry I installed a $30,000 recording studio in your building, in your department, that you can use. to your benefit for your students. I'm so sorry that I got that for you. You know, it's like it's such a funny.
Oh, okay. Wait, so you just spend the money?
Like I got the money from the student government that was like, you know, there's every student pays into the activities fund every semester, and so they just have a bunch of money to send kids on trips, to send kids to do, like, to buy equipment for things, to, like, buy the a cappella group a PA system, or buy the AV club this or that. And I
Mm-hmm.
started a student run record label, and I wrote up a business plan for it, and I, like, shopped for all the gear and came up with a budget. Hey, we're gonna get this, and we want to start a recording, like a record label. And in order to do that, I need a recording studio so that I can bring bands in and record them, uh, before I release their music, and or before we release their music, and so, like, the music department wanted nothing to do with that. But then I basically just, like, gave them a recording studio to use. You
So
know?
how did you? But still, how did you get to 30,000 if you didn't ask? Because if there was some sort of,
Well,
what do you?
so the room that I that I set the studio up in was basically an office of another professor, and we just,
Okay.
like, did it.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't just. There's not magically appearing $30,000 on
Oh,
your
well,
account,
but the
no?
student government, I pitched, like, "Hey, I wanna start a student-run record label."
Ah, okay. Now I get it. Okay.
And the student government said, "Here you go. Here's the money."
Okay. Okay.
And then
So they were down with the idea.
they were down with the idea,
Yeah. Okay.
but the music department, like, the department was just pushed, like, they didn't push back. They did, but they kinda didn't know that I was doing it in the music building. I just kinda did it, and then asked for forgiveness later, and they were like,
And
"Okay."
how did they react then?
By the time I got to my senior year, I was no longer allowed to use the recording studio that I installed without supervision of my roommate.
Why?
Because bureaucracy.
No, wait, wait. I mean, it feels like I have to ask so many questions to get the information. But okay, so you installed this studio, and then you went to them and said, "Hey, by the way, there is a studio now. Have fun with it."
Mhm.
How did they react in that moment?
What?
So they didn't like it.
I mean, it was like, we were turning a room that they were using as an office into a like a top of the line recording studio.
Yeah, I get that, but what they didn't like it.
They didn't like it at first, but I think they came around to it. I think they still
So
use it.
so what changed from you maybe, I don't know, recording bands and even publishing them, to you had to have someone else be part of you using the studio? What changed?
Because I drilled a hole through a concrete wall without permission so that I
Okay, I
could
mean, so why?
so that I could run the snake, like the
You
the
could.
box the box with all the XLR inputs.
Ah,
Like an important piece of the studio to
okay, now I slowly understand why you were a rebel. Okay, that's actually, I mean, depending on what kind of wall it was, it could also have been dangerous, right, for the
It could
structure of
have
the
been
building.
dangerous, but,
It wasn't.
it ended up not being dangerous, so it was just fine.
Okay, I'm glad you're
But,
still
like, if
here.
I'd waited for them to do it, I would have, like, long been out of college by the time they got to doing that.
Yeah. I mean, changing a structure, a concrete wall structure is sort of a big deal for these kind of colleges and yeah, houses that need to be bureau bureau oh my god. Uh yeah, by
Bureaucratically, like,
bureaucratically, that's a word.
I think
Um
it's a word, maybe.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, and I think yeah,
I use my I use my best judgment, and, like, it wasn't a load-bearing wall, or there were plenty of other places for that. There wasn't any electric in that part of the cinder blocks.
and your roommate was trustworthy then.
My roommate was the angel of the everybody loved him in the music department.
Why? What did he do?
He was a straight A student, and, you know, he was like he was just the he was the gem of the department.
Okay. So he didn't did he disapprove of what you were doing or did you like it?
No, I mean, I'm gonna out him here, he was right there when I did it. I was just the fall guy.
Okay, okay. Yeah. Yeah, everybody needs one of those, right?
You know, like, we figured, like, I'll take the hit, and then we'll still get to use the studio.
Yeah, okay. So not one rebel, but several in disguise as well.
Yeah, well, you have to have there are it's like you gotta have the fall guy, you gotta have, like, the mediator, you gotta have, like, the planner and like, the the smoother over, like, there's a whole
So
team.
were you by any chance part of the Ocean's 11?
I was just that's my favorite movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like it. I can see you heisting more than I can see you sing an aria.
Oh, man.
Okay, thank you for that excursion. That was a bit funny as well. So I'm in a funny mood now. Let's get back to serious.
I don't know, music,
um,
if you take it too serious, I think, um, you're doing something wrong.
yeah, yeah, I get that with you. Yeah, that's for sure. Let me see. Um, you mentioned that you were doing like you're making a living being a musician.
Mhm.
How does that work? I mean, that's a dream for most people, at least most people who want to be musicians. And it's not an easy job.
Sure.
It's not an easy um, endeavor to actually be able to pull it off. And from what I hear, is that it's mainly because of very inconsistent income streams and super hard work when it comes to actually booking, like being sold out on tours and so on. Everybody, at least most people I know, hate social media, hate Instagram, hate TikTok, hate all this promotional aspect of it. So I'm asking all of this so that you know that it's quite valuable. So your answer and information, I guess a lot of people are interested, including myself. And now I'm asking, like, how did you do it? How does it work? What do you actually make your living from?
It's evolved. It's certainly evolved. I started out playing in bars and restaurants and, in New York City. I lived in Brooklyn for a long time and, started out playing bars and restaurants and working a day job. Um, and then slowly that became private events and higher paying restaurant gigs and hotels and weddings and uh like like all sorts of private events, that flown all over the world kind of things. And
And that's you playing cover songs or your original songs?
playing cover songs. It's like it started out as cover songs,
Okay.
and has evolved uh has evolved now to I take a few of these kind of private gigs as they come along. Um I'm kind of like putting the last decade into a very small lane here. Um and over the last couple of years now has really transitioned from weddings and private parties and booking, like being a booking agent kind of character and whatnot, to now I have a business model where I basically uh four wall shows around the country, uh and bring my band on the road.
Four wall? What does that mean?
So instead of begging a venue to let me play, I rent the room, and I throw the show myself. Uh,
So you're also then getting all 100% of the ticket sales?
mhm, which gives me the budget to market properly, because most venues don't know how to like this is most venues don't know how to market their venue or a show.
A- And so do you bring your own bar staff and your own like ticketing like controller and security, or is that part of the
Yeah,
rent?
I mean, the venue so usually we take the ticket sales, the venue takes anything else that they kind of, if they have a bar, and we'll play semi non-traditional rooms. We're last week we played a a community center in Maine that has a happens to have a 250 capacity, like, beautiful little seated theater in it. And the week before, we were in, like, a legendary music venue and a couple of gigantic theaters, and then we were in a brewery that also doubles as like an event space and a so there's like you're not kind of you're kind of not stuck to whatever the Ticketmaster venue is.
Yeah. So yeah.
In fact, the Ticketmaster venue doesn't work with this model
Why? Tell me why.
because Ticketmaster is Ticketmaster.
I mean, we all hate Ticketmaster. I think that's a commonality.
Yeah.
Nobody, no, we don't have to sugarcoat anything. It's just a really like most shitty capitalistic, like everything that actually is contrary to what music and art is. So just to get that out of the way, but still, why doesn't it work with that concept?
'Cause I can't rent the room. They won't let me rent the room and ticket the show myself.
And what was does that mean budget wise for you?
What do you mean?
I mean, y- it seems like you're making money from the shows, right?
That's the hope.
So how would it change if you went into somewhere where Ticketmaster is leading the venue? How would the budget and your revenue stream change?
I wouldn't have the runway of ticket sales to properly market the show in a cold market where I have no fans. Most of the markets that I play in, I have never been to before, and I don't have any like I don't have fans in those markets until I do. And
So
I
how
run
do you manage to do that?
Ads,
Ads,
ads.
like Instagram, Facebook ads?
Yeah.
Huh. So you're let me see. So what is the lead up to renting a venue? Like how many months in advance do you do that?
As far as close as like a month and a half to 2 months, and as far away as like a year.
So you let's say 6 months. What is the process of getting the venue sold out? How do you do that?
I think you start about. I like to start about 3 months out, and you run videos and images and in like that geographic area, and watch the metrics and hope that it sells. I'm picking my markets, I'm not just like, okay, I want to go here. When I pick places, I'm looking for places that I think, based on previous successes, and also based on previous failures, where not to play and where to play. Kind of looking at look-alike markets, like, how old are the people there? Uh, what's the what's the population? How far away are they from like a major city? Uh, there's all sorts of different metrics that I use to kind of try to determine whether to try to like take out some of the risk, because this is a terribly risky business, in that it's very easy to lose. It's very easy to spend money and not make
Mm.
any.
Where do you get the metrics from?
The internet,
Just Googling.
Google, and LLMs.
Okay. And what is your like an average typical criteria set that you have? Like what kind of like proximity to something, age distribution, like what do you pay attention to?
I'm paying attention to I like places that have under under 120,000 people. I like places that are, you know, outside of 30 miles, somewhere outside of 30 to 65 miles from like a major city. Like, thinking like Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, like, and then you kind of like tier cities down from that, and then you look at those suburbs, uh, and you look for, I look for places where there's a high concentration of people who are over the age of 25, and they can maybe afford a ticket that's like $45 or $55.
And why is that important to be like 30 to 65 miles outside of the major city?
Because it reduces the cost of advertising,
How?
because there aren't as many. You're not competing as much for advertising space. You're not competing for eyeballs. You're not competing as much for eyeballs.
But how tell me, I don't understand. So you're looking at a city that's 120,000 people.
Sure.
You could also use that, like, I don't know, 400 miles away from a major
Okay,
city.
so do you know about Walmart?
I know Walmart, yes.
Okay, so Walmart is a company built its built its business by going to underserved, rural communities where there's not a lot of things going on, or people have to drive an hour to a grocery store, or an hour a hardware store, or an hour to a toy store or whatever, and they put up these superstores in like these rural areas, and then people can go get all of their things. They can go to the grocery store, they can go buy a bicycle, they can go buy a fishing rod, and a piece of furniture, and beer, and meals for the week, kind of thing. So I'm looking for places that are hungry for something to do. I'm looking for places that are hungry for a night out, and don't have a lot of, like, if I go and try to advertise my show in New York City, there's a million and one things happening on any given night of the week that that people are probably more likely to go do than come to my show. So it's going to
Mm.
cost an insane amount of money to get anybody to buy tickets to my show. But if I go to somewhere that's like 75 miles outside of a major city, or 100 miles outside of a major city, where there are enough people, but they don't have a lot of things to do, but they happen to have this theater space in town, if I go there, the whole town's coming out, kind of thing, because it's like an exciting thing to do,
Mm. So,
you know?
um, I don't know. Maybe there is
And
not.
this is top secret. This is top secret stuff.
Yeah, I find it super interesting and very intriguing, and that's why I'm asking about this distance, because why even connect it to the distance of a major city? Why not just choose any city that's 120,000 people?
Because there's still kind of barriers to entry. Um, you need to find places that have enough people and can afford to go out and do things, you
Ah,
know?
okay, 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 okay. I
Because it's
understand.
still, I mean, it's still expensive to go and do these things,
Yeah.
so, like, it's not a free show.
So it's still like a, let's say, culturally interested kind of suburb that is.
There has to be interest in arts. There has to be enough people. There has to be enough income. There has to be, and yeah, but then it has to be far enough away from a major city that people are hungry to come out to the show.
Mm. And do you have a template more or less that you for the advertisement on Instagram? What Instagram, Facebook? That's your main.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, do you have um, a template that you use and just change venue and date, or do you have, I don't know, different songs, different seeing you perform for different areas? How do you do that?
Well, I mean, you kinda have to think about a lot of this stuff like a scientist, which is totally out of my realm. I'm ADHD and have ideas swirling around in my head, and I change directions all the time.
Yeah, I mean that's hardcore marketing that you're doing, actually. CTRs and conversion rates and
ROAS, return on ad spend, and watching the funnel, and, like, so you have to kind of start somewhere and then experiment with that, and keep doing that and doing that and doing that and changing things out one thing at a time. Don't, like, yes, I have a template. I have a template.
so basically it's one more or less real that you are perfecting over time more and more and more.
No, it's like it's a couple of videos and a couple of images, and then I look from market to market to see which versions of those videos and images work best. And then as like the success of those kind of tapers, over time, then I add new versions of of different songs or different copy or whatever in, and then at the end of that campaign I look and see what performed the best, and then I start to try to like evolve the template along the way and try to find the most successful selling tool.
Hmm. How many shows do you play per year?
The goal this year is 86.
86. So that's a lot of marketing you have to do.
It's a shit ton of marketing.
And it's also, I guess, a shit ton of cash flow that you have to manage.
There's definitely some cash flow.
So, I mean, just imagining having to rent all these things out, probably you have to have a 50% something pay up, like down
Sure, and
payment.
you know, there's ways around you have to kind of navigate that and delay payment here and there. And just like there's kind of budget management that you have to live with.
And when they sell, so you have your own, do you use a ticketing system? How do you do that?
Yeah.
And that's probably a monthly subscription, something like that?
No, they take a or they add their fee on
Service
top
fee.
of what I set my
Okay.
ticket price at.
And ticket entry control is then with an app like scanning something like that.
Mhm. We put out a list. We've got so we carry box office. We carry a box office person who's also the TM, and
And how
and
do you want to share which you're using? Are you satisfied with the service?
yeah, sure. It's a company called Humanitics.
Humanitics. Okay. And how is the payout of the when you are when you the ticket is sold? Do you get that share of the ticket already in your account, or is it like a in the end you?
I mean, you can there are a bunch of different ways that you can set it up.
Okay, okay. So if I may ask, how much is that promotion part of your site? How much do you spend usually on Facebook and Instagram?
It totally depends, but I'll tell you, it's more than $100.
I guess that is. That's why I'm asking. I'm sure it's not cheap.
If you like, I've built. I mean, this is the really nerdy piece of this. Uh,
Oh, so that's the nerdy part. Okay.
the nerdy part is like determining whether a venue is a good fit based on based on how much it costs per seat and how much I think I can uh, get a ticket sold for, or how much it costs to sell a ticket and what it costs to have. I mean, there's so many like you kind of have to like put this all together and figure out your calculations to determine whether like determine what your break even point is, what you need to be looking for from a success on your ads, and see figuring out like determining or estimating how much you need to spend to sell out the room. Because the goal with each of these rooms is sell out.
Yeah.
Uh, but if your ad budget schedule starts to not perform, it starts to perform below your break even point, then you have to cut that off and determine whether you cut your losses and cancel the show or just play the show as is.
With a loss then.
Hmm?
Playing the show with a loss then.
Yeah, and there's you know I've been doing this for about a year and a half now, and there was definitely loss. It's experimentation. You know, I run a business now. Like I run a kind of a big idea business model here.
Yeah, I mean you're very entrepreneurial spirit. I see that. Um,
Well, thank
is spending more money on the advertising side relating usually to more ticket sales? Or is there other factors that are way more important than that?
I think the way I see it, especially in cold markets, if I turn off my ads, I will not sell another ticket.
So it's constant
Uh, it's
advertising.
every dollar spent is a piece of a ticket sold.
And how much do you usually have to spend per person for like to get a ticket sold? Like, what do you think? Do you have an average?
Oh man, uh, less is better.
I guess that, but is it really like I have to spend $30 to make a $44 show?
Well, I mean, you kind of think about it. Almost every sale is going to be almost every sale is going to be 2 tickets. Uh, so if it costs you $30 to make a sale, that's about $15 a ticket. So and it really depends show to show what that number truly is.
So do you, because that's of course a factor I didn't even consider until you pointed it out, that of course people don't go alone into a, to a concert, right? At least usually
People
they
do, but
don't.
people also don't. Most sales that I get through my platform are 2 tickets.
That's what I mean. And so is it, do you put that within to the marketing to sell it as a more or less community experience, or something that is that it's an experience that you have together, or is it more or less directed at the person that's looking at it, just the experience of it?
Both.
Both. Okay.
Both. I mean, I think that, and this is the kind of thing you have to determine what's your show. What's the selling point? What makes your show something that somebody wants to come see? What makes your personality worth somebody clicking the ad to come see the show, and then you have to work that into the marketing. I think if you want to think about, as you think about marketing yourself, you have to, and I can't answer this for anybody but myself. But the questions that you need to be asking if you're thinking about marketing yourself are things like, what what makes you you? What are the elements of your show that are that people have a lot of fun with, and then you have to, if you have people coming to see your show and they enjoy the show, you have to try to figure out how to take that experience that those people are having and then put words and images and videos that support that. Because when somebody sees an ad, they might click on it because the ad it just like intrigued them in some way, shape, or form. Is it the brightness? Is it the sound? Is it the shot? Is it the face that you made? Is it the bass player doing it? Is it the, or whatever it is? Is it the voice? Is it the song? Is it the lyric? Is it the thing that gets people to click the first time? Then that journey has to be like really congruent all the way through, so that at no point does somebody feel like, oh, that's not what I got myself into. You have to find, and this is going to be different for everybody, for whatever the show is that you're you're putting on or you're trying to market, you have to you have to be like you have to find the optimal pathway for people to get from complete stranger to $45 ticket or whatever you charge, you know?
So, and you do that by yourself, everything you said?
Yeah.
That's insane. I
Oh,
really,
and then I have to go play the show.
yeah, highly respect that. I mean, I thought I hustle a lot, but that also sounds very much like a hustle. So
But,
kudos.
doing this, like, I don't get to spend a lot of time playing music because I'm always thinking about the marketing and I'm always thinking about, like, or worrying about whether a show is gonna work and I'm always trying to find, like, the next or I'm always trying to optimize or make my research better or or find better markets so it's such a, like, delicate balance, and it's a challenge to make time for the creative. Like, I've got a record that just came out, and I'm trying to promote that record by going on the road. Uh, and that's just the way that it goes. But it's a challenge.
So what is your goal with that? I mean, obviously you love performing. That's what you said. So
Yeah.
on the bigger level, like, why go into different markets? Why go to people that don't even know you? Like, what's the goal of choosing that way of doing it?
There are lots of ways to market your music and market your business. And there are lots of ways you can spend money to market your business. But I think about, and I've done a lot of them. I've wasted money on a lot of them. Uh, but I think that there, I do it this way because I love performing. I think that best people are more likely to come back if they see me live. Uh, my show as is is my show, and that's the thing that I think sells people on buying into my brand, and I think of my business as, like, if I can get 1,000 people to spend $100 a year on my music, then I have $100,000. Then I can scale that to 2,000 people that spend $100 a year on my music. Then I can scale that to $4,000 people that spend $100 a year on my music. And it's you start to be able to, like, scale these things. So I think about, like, you look at like people who go viral on TikTok, or you look at these viral moments, or you look at people who are spending tons of money on Spotify playlists and Spotify streams in the hopes that like they get some sort of traction. We're in the business of capturing attention, holding attention, and then monetizing attention. Uh, and this is so not musical. It's like we're like but unfortunately, as a full-time musician who wants to play original music, uh, you have to you kind of have to, like, I don't want a day job. This is my day job. Like, so I have to think about things in this way. And and in order to like do these three things, like do this thing, like, I have to collect data. I have to collect data on people who want to be part of this part of this universe that I'm creating, and then I have to be able to talk to those people directly, uh, with whatever consistency I I I feel is necessary at that time, and then I have to be able to like offer things to these people for them to like be part of this universe monetarily. Um, but with social media, we don't really actually have a way to access and communicate directly with those people because of algorithms, because of the way that m- social media is built. So it's I don't know, like I'm trying to in what I'm doing is like I'm trying to break down walls between me and fans and people who want to be part of the Drew Angus universe. Um and I'm trying to let them in, in a way that they can get excited about like being part of in like a commercial commerce kind of way.
And
And I think this method is the most effective for me right now.
hmm, hmm. And so it's basic, but in the end, it's just so that you can perform because you love it. It sounds like it.
That's it.
Yeah, yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
I don't want to play to a sound guy anymore. I don't want to beg venues to let me have a shitty door deal, and then lose money on the night every night. Like I want to play. I want to get in a van or I want to get on a plane and I want to run around the country or run around the world and play music in front of people. There's nothing there's no greater feeling of joy than doing that kind of thing for me. And in order to do that, I feel it is my destiny that I have to do this.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so let's talk about your record, Late to the Party.
That's
Is
it.
it an album?
It sure is.
How many songs?
There you
Oh, you're showing me an LP now. Oh, nice.
go.
Oh, like the past the thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
This is late to the party.
I like it. How many songs is this?
It's 11 songs.
And why the name of the album?
Because I am always in my life I have been late to everything. But when I get there, it's pretty good.
Okay, okay. I from what you're talking about with like building a studio, like asking for forgiveness, and then yeah, doing this way of doing your shows, I find it actually quite innovative, or at least I wouldn't say late to the party, but uh, I mean, there's always a difference between self-perception and perception of others, right?
Sure, but I think the way we look at that we look at the industry these days, it's 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 a young person's game, kind of. It looks like a young person's game,
That that
like
I
kids
think that's always been the
in their
case.
teens. Like, and I came into my voice and my kind of like I came into my voice a little later, and I came into songwriting like a little bit later, in life. So that's kind of like this is my like I've put out a bunch of EPs and a bunch of singles along the way, but this is like my first kind of mark in the ground. Like
So that's your first album,
this is my first album.
and is there a concept behind it?
Um, well, there is. It's a loose concept in that this is an album about uh the life I've lived and so far and um like little nuggets. Like each one of these songs is like uh a Pez candy kind of thing. Just a nugget of
Mm,
a nugget of where I'm at in that moment that that song came to be.
yeah, now you're
It's
already
this is an
answering.
album about growing up, kind of.
Yeah, you're already answering the Pez part because, of course, I had to ask. I like it. Um, which is the song that you? Which is the song that you were most considering not to put on the album? Like that was like, oh, I'm not sure if I should put it on there.
I have 2, actually.
So tell me.
Uh, Lost and Peanut Butter Cup.
So why not? Why not these two?
Lost was like when we finished writing it, I was just I was like, "Oh, this is a cool song," but I don't know if I would ever like I couldn't really play the guitar part 'cause I wrote it with a couple of buddies, um, and I was like, it just didn't quite click. But now that we've played it a bunch of times on tour, it's like kind of emerged as this as like one of my favorite songs on the record. It's like it's such a poignant message of of being okay with not knowing where you're headed next. And just kind of like sitting in that for a moment and like getting comfy with the discomfort in a sense. Um, and the other song, Peanut Butter Cup, Peanut Butter Cup is kind of a like in my opinion, it's kind of a sillier song about unintentionally letting go of all of your fears through the help of recreational things.
Okay, I get it. Okay, yeah. Um, so it's like a trip.
It's definitely a trip.
Okay, and but then, but how is it then unintentionally letting go? Because that
Because
sounds.
it was completely by accident.
Oh, you. Oh, it was a personal experience.
Yeah, it's real life.
Okay, and you didn't know that this is going to happen. That you're going
No,
to let go of all the fears.
no, I did not know.
And what did you find?
Uh, be careful. Be careful what you pick up off the ground and put into your mouth.
Was it ayahuasca?
No,
No. Okay.
it was mushrooms. It
It was what?
was a peanut butter. It was mushrooms.
Okay. 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 I like the metaphor, but but when you say be careful, it sounds like it was a bad trip.
No, it wasn't.
So,
It was
so what did you find then when you say like maybe? I mean, maybe you don't want to share, but within you, like answers that you maybe didn't have, questions that you didn't ever ask.
Oh, I mean, for me, that was, uh, I think psilocybin is a really powerful tool that helps people who that can, if used in the right setting, can be a very powerful medicine to help people who experience depression, uh, reduce some of their reduce some depressive thoughts. There's scientific evidence that supports it. I don't know the in depth part of that, but a friend of mine and I were having a, a a bad day in the back of a music venue, just kind of lamenting about struggles, and for some reason, I reached under the couch that we were sitting on in the back of this venue and like saw this little gold wrapped peanut butter cup and just I don't know why like there's no reason I had no reason to look under the couch. Uh, but I did, and I found this, and I pulled it out, and I joked like, "Hey, man, what do you think this is?" But we didn't know, you know. And then I like hand it to him and turn around, and then the next thing I know, he's like holding the other half for me, and something told me to eat it.
So I guess that's how ideas decide that they should be in the universe, right?
Should be.
Still, I mean, now I know how it happened, which I find very interesting. But what did you find within you? Like some, I mean, I guess it wasn't just a 5-second experience. So
No,
what did you
no.
find?
Um, I found a version of happiness, and like, it probably wasn't the most life-changing experience at the end of the day, but I had a good time with a friend that, like, I'd never had this kind of experience with. And and in the aftermath of that, like, we talked about our experience and kind of learned of the positive effects of mushrooms, like, in a kind of more scientific way.
Hmm. Yeah, I had an ayahuasca experience,
Okay.
and I also found it very. For me, it was. I'm not sure if I really became a different person, but it was life changing in the sense that everything I thought was real about something vague, meaning connecting that everything is one, and all these cliche things that spiritual um, spiritual teachings say. I found it confirmed. Like I couldn't. It wasn't just an abstract theory that I thought is real and maybe experienced sometimes as real, but it was a full-on 100% experience, like being in a concert. Like it's not
Sure.
thinking about how it would be to see this artist live. It was seeing the artist live, seeing the performance, being with the crowd, being with the audience. And that metaphor stretched to other parts of my personal life, and feeling connected to friends and family, even though they weren't in the room, and feeling connected to the universe and gratitude. And it was just
Yes.
a water running down my face full of gratitude and love. So this was very beautiful to be confirmed to me, this is truth. So, and and that I can only say with certainty because I had the experience.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's like a letting go of the pressures and the norms and the perspectives that we're filled with on a daily that our brains are inundated with on a day-to-day basis. It's a
And I
it's
and I can
it's
and I can totally agree with what you said with the that the fear is all fears are, well, how did you put it, gone, something like that. um
yeah,
I would even go further that any defense mechanism that our psyche has is inexistent, and you're right at the source of everything that is within you in your deepest area. So right at the source of, I don't know,
who
also
you
the,
are as a human being.
yes, and also at the source of the universe. Like it really feels like there is no um boundary. There's no anything that keeps you from something. It everything is there. And that's why I feel that I can agree with you. It must be the right setting and it must be the right person. I wouldn't recommend this to everyone.
No, it's not for everybody.
I would definitely not recommend this to. Yeah, I don't want to go into details of, because that's a whole different discussion. But I think,
Totally.
it definitely is, like you said, it can have an extreme effect on people. I think Tim Ferriss once said, because he's all into this. I think he once said that, what a car crash can be to a person when it comes to how traumatic it is from a destructive level, that can be as effective as a car crash, but as on a constructive level. But that, of course, has
Mhm.
to do with setting and people around you and your current situation and all of these things.
Absolutely. There's so many factors that go into play uh, before you venture into that world.
Yeah, Drew, I've so far I found this super intriguing and was, as you maybe know or don't know, I don't have not one question beforehand in my head except for what is the sound. I Everything is on the spot and I learned a lot. That's why I was asking so many questions, because I never heard the way you approach touring. I never heard it from anyone else. I had abstract ideas that this might be possible, but I've never heard anyone who's already like 1.5 years doing this and experimenting with it, and I find it super inspiring. I hope it's a idea that others maybe. I mean, it's always different because everybody's different. So I'm not sure if it will
Yeah.
be copied a lot, but maybe to some people this might be a good inspirational idea to experiment with as well.
I hope it's the way forward we see artists all day long. I see them like talking about how
Yeah,
impossible it is to tour, how impossible it is to bring their music to the people. Um, and that makes me in so sad.
yeah.
Um,
And also dependent on all of these, like Ticketmaster, all of these venues and external forces.
I don't know. I think we're coming into a time where artists need to take control of their operations back. Um, it's it's not easy. It's not for everybody. But I think I don't know. I think it's so important for artists to define what success looks like for them before jumping into the deep end of anything. And then, sometimes when you jump into the deep end of a concept or an idea or something that you're like spending on, you discover that it's not right for you. Uh and you have to shift gears. But, this is it's like it's a lot of work to do this. It's so much work to do this.
It
Uh,
sounds like it, yeah.
there's no easy way, I mean, you can chase a viral moment for your whole life
Yeah.
and never get one, you know?
But I think
Uh,
that's why all of these labels and all of these production studios, music studios existed, because they were doing all this work that you're currently doing yourself. And I mean, they had the person that books the venue, they had the person that, like does the budgeting. So it was
that's like 20-person teams working on one artist, you know?
exactly. And that's why, of course, the artist got a small, very, very small portion of the percentage in the revenue stream in the end.
Right.
And I feel that hopefully that this is changing with people like you who maybe inspire others to find technology that supports that, or like having venues. I always thought it would be a good idea, for example, for musicians to somehow, I don't know, have a venue, like a musician-owned venue, which of course is a business by itself. But that,
Yeah.
if there were 100 venues, or like just for the US, just say, let's stay in the US, even though I'm not there, that would be a very interesting way of choosing bookings and supporting each other as well.
Yeah. It's so hard to be a venue owner, I think, in this day and age, because you have to do as much, if not, you have to do as much as an artist does, but then you have the overhead of a brick and mortar space on top of that you have to manage and make sure that you make enough money to keep that afloat.
Yeah.
It's such a once upon a time I thought I wanted to own a music venue that had live music 7 days a week, the best burger, the best cheeseburger you could find, and 40 different beers on tap, like craft beers on tap. And that was my dream when I was like 18 to 23.
Yeah.
And as now at 36, as I look back at that, like, that is a terrible idea. I would be absolutely miserable trying to figure out how to make that day in and day out, trying to figure out how to make that.
Yeah, I think that would be a whole new half-hour discussion that we would have, because I found that would really dig into it. But at this point, I want to say, yeah, thank you for being so generous with your secrets, as you said, like sharing them with the Hideaway community, who are all, I think, people who are, yeah, just part of this world, and of this creative world and creative endeavors and experiments. So I hope it finds new ground, new fertile ground, new seeds that are planted.
Cool. Sounds good.
Yeah, is there anything else you want to say, like as last words of the podcast?
Yeah, sure. Once again, my name is Drew Angus. I've got a new record called Late to the Party that's out now, wherever you listen to it. drewangus.com, DREWANGUS.com, and come see me on the road.
Okay, they can see it on your website.
They can see it. Go check out the website,
Yes.
and that's where you'll find tour dates as they come up.
Perfect. Okay, thank you, Drew. Bye.
Have a good one.